All right, and then we'll close with Francois Jean. So on the MES to ERP communications explained, this is actually a really good objection that he raises. Although Francois, sometimes I feel like is trolling me all the time, but this is actually a good objection. He says, so what's the difference? So if you watch that video where I said, what's the difference between the Industry 3.0 way of integrating ERP and the Industry 4.0 integration? And if you look, we're using point-to-point connectors, and then you're using point-to-point connectors. You're using connectors in an IoT platform to convert the topical namespaces from the ERP into functional namespaces that can go into a unified namespace, right? So Francois says, what's the difference? Please don't tell me that your IoT platform will discover suddenly the BOM. Yes, it will. That's how we do it. We use the business API, the BAPI, and we discover the bill of materials. The difference is what we're doing is we're taking the tags or the topics, depending upon which platform you're talking about. We're taking the tags or the license tag or the topic that is the bill of material, and we are mapping it to a place in the unified namespace. Okay, we're saying this goes to this place in the namespace, right? He says you build custom, and custom means that if the ERP or the MES changes, you need to rework these connectors. No, we don't have to rediscover the bill of materials. The change to the BOM we're going to see. All right, we will see that, but we still have to map it. We'll have to go in and say this delta now belongs, these three new parameters, topics, or tags now belong to this in this place in the namespace. If your SCADA system is ISA 95, then there's no added value to have a UNS aside. Yeah, I mean, that just makes you, yeah, I mean, we're going to have to, I mean, what I would say is you need to watch more of our videos. If we look correctly, you're building a 3.0 architecture. No, we are not. 3.0 architecture is a linear architecture that goes up a stack, point to point. So PLC HMI to SCADA, SCADA to MES, MES to ERP, ERP to cloud. Okay, that is an Industry 3.0 architecture, and it relies solely on point-to-point connections. Okay, he said you have exactly the same number of discrete connections, and you need an extra one for the UNS, which in this case has no sense. All right, so this is the valid argument here. So in the digital, when you're digitally transforming an organization, you actually write what is known as minimum technical requirements. And you say, if what we want to do is we want to have a single source of truth for our business, we want a common infrastructure through which all the smart things in the business can access the data and information that they need. And then when they create new data and information, a place to put it back to for other consumers to get. Okay. Instead of, I'm gonna extract data from here, I'm gonna bring it to here, I'm gonna do ETL, and then I'm gonna create some value that's gonna flow out the top to the business, right? Like a fountain almost. What we do is we say, no. Each connection in a business creates information, data and information that can help us analyze the business. Each integration, each transition of data or transformation of data into information creates additional value, and that should all go to the same place. So that I should be able to look at the genealogy of an event that goes from starts at the plant floor, is used in the calculation of some KPI, which is then used in the calculation of some other KPI, which is then reported somewhere, which is then mitigated somewhere. We should be able to see that genealogy in one place. The Industry 3.0 architecture never takes that into account. It also doesn't assume that all producers of data are also consumers of data. Okay, so what I showed you there is basically how do you take a legacy ERP system and transform it so that it can plug into an Industry 4.0 architecture. But the ultimate goal is to buy an ERP system or build your ERP functions in one common infrastructure. The ultimate goal is I want to be able to install my ERP system and have it meet my minimum technical requirements out the gate. Okay? The point here is that there isn't clearly a real solution to connect ERP or even MES to UNS. I mean, that just isn't, I mean, it's preposterous. You have Francois, you have thousands of people all over the world using this architecture in the biggest implementations in the world. I mean, I'm not the only one who's saying how to, I mean, I've taught everyone how to do it, but I mean, it's fucking preposterous. This isn't a theory. Like, you know, I mean, the best thing that I can do is invite you to have me give you a demo. You try to pick it apart. I'll answer all your questions. The only deal will be you have to allow me to record it and publish the video so that we can, the next Francois Jean that comes along who says there's clearly isn't a real solution to connect ERP or even MES to UNS, we can just point them to the video where we proved you wrong. Okay. But I do appreciate the comment. I really do. And I actually think where you said you have the exact same number of discrete connections and you need even an extra one for UNS, which in this case has no sense. That's valid if you're only looking at this first step. But the goal is, how do you, if you're going to digitally transform an organization and you're not going to tell a customer that if something, you're not going to say to a customer, if you don't meet the minimum technical requirements, we're going to have to rip and replace. So your ERP isn't edge-driven, report by exception, lightweight, open architecture, and it doesn't support whatever protocol we've selected. Okay, so therefore I don't have to have middleware engineers. Like, we don't want middleware engineers between any smart thing and infrastructure. We have to be able to turn smart things on and have them report to infrastructure so that consumers can consume the data that's reporting, turn it into information, and put it back for other consumers to consume. That's what UNS is all about. If you don't want to have to tell customers they got to rip and replace anything that doesn't meet your minimum technical requirements, then you have to have an intermediary step. Integrating through an IoT platform using their native protocols and then transforming into your protocol is the intermediary step. But ultimately, what you want to be able to do is decouple that and have the ERP plug directly to the UNS. The advantage here is that the structure you create with the IoT platform is the same structure that you would report with the ERP. So there is no additional integration. All the consumer, as long as you structure the data correctly, the consumers will be able to consume it, whether it's being published directly from the ERP or through an IoT platform. Okay. Anyway, I do appreciate the comment, but I think you're definitely missing the pieces.